We intuitively know that health is a vital part of mobilizing and oxidizing fat, right? Like think about how many times we've heard or maybe experienced ourselves, like I was able to lose the baby weight after the first one, but the subsequent one broke me, or I was doing great until I was on antibiotics for a long time, or lived in a moldy house, or whatever that is for you. The system seemed to work before, and then there was some kind of like tumultuous event, and it doesn't work after that. Or maybe you've always struggled your whole life, and what you don't know is that you lived by a moldy wall as a kid, or you have generational trauma or food poisoning or something that changed the system. I have great news for you all. After 3 years of research and 6 months of self-experimentation, I have figured out what actually targets the physical thing that broke. Like we can do a lot of things that like assist, like treat Lyme or treat mold, like treat the underlying root causes, but there's nothing we can do to control whether or not the fat burning system like turns back on and starts working for us again. In a short video, I'm going to briefly explain why you might struggle to lose fat so that it makes sense to you. God, I finally get it. Exactly how this active ingredient and another restore your fat burning system, how to safely and legally get it. We are not ordering drugs off the black market. No. And how to use Tricare as a part of this process. You ready? All right. So first we're going to go over 2 examples. That's just going to be so much validation that you're going to be like, I know it wasn't my fault. So we're going to talk about how we're going to use women as an example, how a healthy woman loses weight versus how an unhealthy woman like me does not lose weight. So when a healthy woman is in a caloric deficit, her body uses the nutrients that are provided to produce energy, build hormones, do maintenance, mend muscles, etc., and pulls from the fat stores to get the energy that's needed to compensate for the rest, right? So the body keeps doing what the body's supposed to do, and we use fat to support that. Beautiful, right? That's the body I had the first 30 years of my life. I was lean and athletic, and now, to be honest, I cringe remembering how I so confidently believed that fat loss was as simple as diet, exercise, and lifestyle. But that was my experience. So I try to have a lot of grace and compassion for people who are like, oh, you just have the baby and you breastfeed, you carry them around, and the weight just comes right off. Like it just works like magic. We all have our own experiences. So now here's the second example that is probably your experience. Woman number 2. All right, so let's say that both women are eating the same macros, they're in the same deficit, they're expending the same amount of energy, they're side by side, okay? But in the second woman, something toxic has come into her body, and this is one example of several ways that this can go wrong. This is me, my example. Something toxic has come into her body that's caused her immune system to be suppressed and dysregulated. For me, it was mold. There's a lot of toxins out there that can do this. Lyme disease and co-infections rapidly spread without an immune system to hold them in check. Parasites spread too. Toxicities wrecked her gut lining, causing bloating, inflammation, nutrient deficiencies, and more. And then began the fatigue, insomnia, brain fog, malaise, all of those awful feelings. Her hormones are wrecked. Her thyroid and nervous system are screaming, we're under attack. Go into survival mode, store all of the fat that we can so we can sustain life while this body is too sick to hunt or gather. So you're in that calorie deficit, your body is already struggling, so that it's going to shut down energy production. That's what's going to make you so tired. It's going to stop maybe making your hormones, your precursors. It's going to stop getting the energy to your brain, so that's why you have brain fog. And it just, being in a calorie deficit causes more chaos. And if you are severely down that road where you're very sick, your body is going to hold on to fat because it's trying to keep you alive. Yay, thanks, body. But no thanks. I don't need that anymore. Anyway, so that is why, despite being, for me personally, I was in over 1,000 calorie deficit for a long time, desperately trying to lose weight. The 4-day water fast I mentioned, and when I was at my most extreme calorie deficit or just not eating at all, my body would go to muscle and I would feel so terrible. So if that is you, know that it is not your fault. It's not your fault. Your body is trying to keep you alive, and there's a way to fix it, okay? The solution goes right to the source of the fat loss resistance. So, but like, again, and we want to continue to get better, continue to treat the Lyme and just really desperate to live life again. I still have a long way to go, right? But we want to be healthy beings. So I'm not saying do this as like a roundabout way to lose the weight, because that's all that matters. That is absolutely not true. Who cares what you look like if you're trapped in bed or too sick to live life? This is a way to lose the weight to help you feel better as you continue to treat the things that are, keeping you from optimal health. In order to burn fat, your body has to mobilize triglycerides, which is your store fat, transform them into fatty acids and glycerol, which is usable energy, and then use said energy, which is called fat oxidation. Okay, so this is just a real brief science of it, so you get why the peptides are so effective. There's two key hormones involved in fat mobilization and oxidation. They are insulin and glucagon. And by the way, this is just really simple. If I'm just like super sciencey, they're like, but you missed all this, right? Like I'm just trying to make it really simple. So insulin and glucagon, and they have an inverse relationship. When blood glucose gets high, insulin is released to shuttle glucose from the blood to storage or usage sites. When blood glucose gets too low, glucagon is released to stimulate fat mobilization, which creates usable energy from the body's stores. Like the body is such a beautiful system. We are designed to be able to go into a deficit and burn fat. That's how we're supposed to work. So let's make us work like that again. Yes, yes, please. The key here to remember is that insulin inhibits fat mobilization, which is called lipolysis, in case you want to do some more research in this. Here's one way of several that all of this applies to your inability to lose fat. Toxins damage mitochondria, among other things. You become insulin resistant, and yes, insulin resistant can have more causes than just what you eat. I think like what you eat is such a low-hanging fruit. It's so important. It's an incredible foundation, but it's a low-hanging fruit because we can easily change that so it gets like all of the hype. There are so many more reasons why you can become insulin resistant than just diet alone, which makes glucose remain high, which inhibits glucagon and therefore fat mobilization and oxidation. Again, very basic, not going into a lot of details. Does it make sense why you can't burn fat now? I hope so. It is not your fault. It's not that you're not disciplined enough, you're not trying hard enough. It's that your system is broken. Okay, so now we have peptides, which is some of the peptides have the active ingredient that is in Ozempic is semaglutide. So peptides, here's how we fix it. There are quite a few incredible peptides that help you burn fat. I'm going to tell you about the two that have been most effective to me. So first is MOTSC. It's described by Hunter Williams, who's just a fantastic, all things peptides, highly recommend. He is linked below. He describes it as restoring the software of your mitochondria, which restores your insulin sensitivity. So the first step is just getting that insulin to decrease your insulin. Once I started on MOTSC, I was previously pre-diabetic, but yet eating perfect. How? Why? I was pre-diabetic. Once I started on MOTSC, I went back into low normal numbers. So it works. Incredible peptide. The second is retatrutide or GLP-3. Retatrutide and GLP-3 are the same product. They just go by both names. And I'll tell you why. Reta is a triple agonist, meaning that it stimulates 3 hormone receptors at the same time. These hormones are glucagon-like peptide 1, which is GLP-1 for short, also known as semaglutide. The second is glucose-dependent insulin-tropic polypeptide, which is called GIP, and GLP-1 and GIP together are tirzepatide. You might have heard of that one as well. And then the third one, the third new one, which makes it so powerful for people who are struggling with fat loss resistance, is glucagon receptor activation, and that is what stimulates lipolysis. Semaglutide, again, is the single agonist. Tirzepatide is the dual agonist. Reta is a triple agonist, which makes it so effective. It is still in FDA clinical trials where it is dramatically increasing fat loss results over Sema and Tirz. And Sema and Tirz also have some other like anti-inflammatory and such effects over weight loss. Reta also has some other amazing effects, but it's targeted for fat loss. You can personally buy Reta. This is what my plea read. You can personally buy retatrutide. I've been doing this for over 6 months now with phenomenal results, like I said. And I just have to say that this is not medical advice. I'm not a medical provider, so I don't know if I can give medical advice. It's not medical advice. It's not life advice. It is just me sharing my experience because I get so many DMs from women who are just so frustrated. Like we intuitively know that health is vital to lose weight because we see it throughout our life, right? Like I go into deficit as a teenager and I dropped it like that. But now later in life, it doesn't work anymore. What happened? What changed? Your health changed. Yes, you can buy Reta. You can also buy Sema and Tirz through research peptides. So I buy it as a research peptide from a compounding lab. What's important is finding a lab that is compounded in the United States and third-party tested. That's the two things that really matter. In the US and third-party tested. We are not getting gray market, black market from China. Do not mess with that. There's been some really dangerous things that have been found in that arena. A lab in the US and third-party tested. I have a link below to my favorite lab. I've tried quite a few. BioLongevity's labs is my absolute favorite. And I also have a discount code so you can get 15% off. And you can also stack savings. So I'll start shooting out when they have sales on peptides that have been really effective. Incredible. Very cost effective. Like I said, the starting micro dose, which is 0.5 milligram, and some people go even lower than that, is only $9 a week. Just $9 a week, right? It's crazy. Yes, they said retatrutide on BioLongevity's is called GLP-3, so that when you look for it. And I'm also working on a partnership with another lab that's really good that carries semaglutide and tirzepatide because I know some of y'all are on those and loving them, and I want to support you continuing to get those. I also have been loving BPC and TB 500 for inflammation. Obviously, mold, Lyme causes a lot of inflammation, and those are incredible at bringing them down. There's also a new product called BioGutHealth that combines peptides for gut health, and it has been amazing. My waist like shrunk, and I'm just so grateful by decreasing that inflammation and restoring the gut lining. So super powerful products. I'll post more on those. I also linked a peptide cheat sheet from Hunter Williams, who is just an incredible resource for all things peptides. And to further help, I've linked a peptide calculator to make this easy if you want to try it. And I'll do more videos on it. But when you get these research peptides, you have to put the backwater in them, which it's super simple. It's just a syringe, pop it in there, and then you pull out what you need, and you just do a sub-Q injection. And if that freaks you out, there are also some oral peptides. Retatrutide is not oral yet, so you do have to do that one by injection, but there's some other really powerful ones that you can take a pill, like the gut one is just pop a pill, super easy. All right, Tricare coverage. So if you want to use a Tricare covered provider, you can. There are some providers out there who are participating with Tricare or even give you a super bill, but there are definitely some who are participating who also do peptides. How amazing is that? So you can use Tricare to cover the cost of them. Lindsay Foreman is one who does GLP-1s or GLPs, and then Vitacor is another. Dr. Bondi does all types of peptides, so you can use Tricare to cover the appointment and also talk about this. Now, one thing on providers, because they are medical providers, they usually use compounding pharmacies for semaglutide and tirzepatide. You cannot get retatrutide from a medical provider because it is not FDA approved yet. That's why we get it in research peptides. It is in like the 3rd phase of clinical trials, so it should be coming soon. But anyway, compounding pharmacies, that does make the cost go up somewhat significantly. Providers will say, don't buy this on your own because they have heard the horror stories of things coming from China or gray market or whatever, and you don't know what you're putting in your body, which is terrifying. Don't do that. So that's why I said it's so important to find a lab that is in the US and third-party tested, and that is why I use BioLongevity, and I'm working on another affiliate with Limitless Life Nootropics, which is also US third-party tested. So just want to throw that out there. So you can get, if it makes you feel more comfortable, you can get semaglutide and tirzepatide from, along with some other peptides from a Tricare covered provider. It's just going to be a little bit more costly. And for those of you who are like, there's only so much money, I need to spread it around. That's why I'm sharing the research peptides with you. You can also, of course, use Tricare to cover your labs. One really key piece, and this is labs and treatment, to getting these hormones to work effectively is optimizing your thyroid and your hormones. And what does Tricare cover incredibly well? Thyroid optimization and hormone optimization. So go to a Tricare cover provider who also does peptides, have them run full thyroid panels, full hormone panels, and then Tricare will cover the thyroid medication. You have a 20% pharmacy cost share, and then once you reach your cap, it's $0. And then also with the full hormone panels, Tricare will also cover creams. They're also starting to cover some dissolvable type caps. There is a compounding pharmacy. This is not through the provider. You need to find a compounding pharmacy who direct bills Tricare. We have one in our town. It's Health Innovations Pharmacy. They're absolutely fantastic. You'll pay your 20% cost share, and then once you get your cap, it will be $0. And these creams are like super cheap. I think with my 20% cost share, it was like under $20. So very affordable. So go to your Tricare covered provider who also does peptides, optimize your thyroid, paid for by Tricare, optimize your hormones, paid for by Tricare, do all your labs. You can also do functional medicine testing through Genova Diagnostics. So using Tricare to cover all this, it makes it super affordable. And then you can buy your research peptides, which again, retatrutide, $9 a week. So affordable to optimize and change your life. You know, like I said, I tried everything, and I've gone back and forth. I have some friends who didn't lose a baby weight, and they're like, I have one in particular, and she's the most beautiful person I know. I adore her. She's like, this is who I am. I love it. And I admire her. I envy her so long. I worked so hard to try to reshape my brain, that I just need to be fine with how I am. I've tried everything. It's not working. But for me personally, I just couldn't do it and I think it's because I have gotten better, but there's just still it just hurt looking in the mirror. I think it's because we all identify with some piece of ourselves in a different way, right? Some women are amazing musicians or scientists or, what else is there out there? I'm drawing a blank, right? Painters, I don't know. So we all have our own thing that we identify with. Teachers, maybe our jobs, maybe really whatever that is, we have our thing that we identify ourselves with. And nobody would look at somebody who was a cyclist, and after they had their baby or were sick, I just can't wait to get out and ride again, or I can't wait to get out and run again, or I can't wait till my hands don't hurt after this autoimmune disease and shaky so I can hold a paintbrush again, right? For me, I identified with how I looked because I've always been athletic. That is like me, and I lost everything else being sick. You all know my life story, and how I looked was the last thing that I had. And then, of course, I lost that when I had my child. And so, looking in a mirror, I just see a stranger, and it just hurt. So, if we can have a way to optimize our life and get the results that we are looking for, and again, this is not just about weight loss. Regaining our health is first and foremost, and I continue to work on that, and I will continue to work on it until I can get back to the life that I love. But if you need to lose the weight in the interim, and also like it helps me feel so much better, I just feel so much lighter and freer without all that excess weight. So if you want to lose the weight, it hasn't been working with diet, exercise, and lifestyle, know that it is not your fault. Know that there is a way that you can go that we just talked about. Now you understand how you can fix what's actually broken and how affordable it can be. If y'all have any questions, comment either on the original reel or send me a DM on Instagram or subscribe. We are currently working on building a new website. I'm so excited. I've been saying this is coming for so long, and it's just been a process. But when you subscribe right now, yes, there's not a ton of information on my website. I've tried to put some really good blogs up there and videos. But the thing that you get is you get my direct email. I try so hard to respond to every message on Instagram. I really want to. I want to give y'all everything I have, but life, man, this summer has been hard. So, and I was saying, if I can't always get back to everyone on Instagram, but I always respond to all of my subscribers' emails. It's the first thing I do when I sit down to work. So if you want to ask me any question and be guaranteed to get an answer, any resources I have, then subscribe. Once you subscribe, I will personally send you an email. There's no automation, mostly because I don't know how to do it. So I personally send you an email, welcome you to the community, and you can, from that special email address just for subscribers, and then you can respond to me with any questions you have, and I will get right back to you. I so hope this was helpful. If it is, please let me know, and I will continue to bring you content like this. Thanks, guys.